Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel, and today's video is going to be the end of the year TBR tag. So I have seen a few people doing this over the last few months. It is the end of November, so I am doing this very late, but I thought it would be fun to sit down and do this video today. It's a pretty relaxed tag, and I can just share with you all what my plans are for the rest of the year, the books that I want to get to, and you can maybe get some ideas for your end of year TBR as well. I will have the questions and the original tag creator linked in my description. I would love to hear your answers to these questions, so feel free to comment down below what your end of the year reading plans are. Okay, so the first question is, are there any books that you started that you need to finish by the end of the year? I do have two books for this. So number one is a book that I'm just reading right now. I thought I would include it, and that is Mother of Death and Dawn by Carissa Broadbent. This is the third book and the finale of the War of Lost Hearts trilogy, the first book being Daughter of No Worlds. This is an adult fantasy romance. I am in love with the first two books in this series, and so far this is amazing. Honestly, I'm kind of almost done. I have I think 200 or 300 pages left. It's been a very emotional ride, but I will 100% be finishing this by the end of the year. This trilogy is one of my favorite series that I've read this year, so I definitely need to finish this before the year is up. And then the next book that I definitely need to finish by the end of the year, I don't know why I have not finished this yet, is King of Wrath by Anna Huang. I am 100 pages in. I actually might be even farther because I picked it up on my Kindle to read at night. So I'm maybe a third of the way done with this book, but I have no idea why I have not finished this yet. I started this at the end of October and then I put it down because I think overall I'm in a general kind of fantasy mood, but I was really loving this. I really like Anna Huang. I have never given one of her books below a 4-star rating, and this was definitely on its way to be a 4 or 5-star book for me. This is the first book in her new contemporary romance series, and it's based on the 7 Deadly Sins. So the first book is King of Wrath, and it's a marriage of convenience romance, which marriage of convenience is one of my favorite tropes. I don't know why. I just haven't been in the mood for it. It's very strange when nothing is wrong with this book. I'm really enjoying it, but I'm just in the mood for other things. So I don't know, but I definitely want to read this before the end of the year. Also because I believe the second book comes out maybe in March, I want to say, maybe. So I definitely need to get to this before the year is done. The next question is, do you have any autumnal books to transition you into the end of the year? Well, we are well into autumn. I think people maybe do this video in October. I'm not really sure. So I decided to switch the question a little bit and change it to, do I have any wintry or holiday books that help me get into the mood this time of year? So I do have two books that I'm going to be adding to my December TBR that I think will get me in the holiday spirit. The first one is going to be Midnight in Everwood by M.A. Kuzniar. I believe this is YA fantasy, and it is a Nutcracker retelling. If you guys don't know, I've talked about it a couple times on this channel, but I did ballet my entire life, and I cannot tell you how many productions of the Nutcracker I have been in. I have played damn near every part, so I definitely think this will be really fun for me to read. I have no idea how much of a Nutcracker retelling it is, if it's pretty much exact or if it's just sort of inspired by, but I have heard that this is a great book to read in December, and I'm excited to pick it up. I hope I love it. Another book that definitely gets me in the holiday spirit that I think I'll probably read right around Christmas time is going to be A Court of Frost and Starlight. This is a novella in the ACOTAR series. It is sort of a transitionary book between the main trilogy and then the first spin-off book, which is A Court of Silver Flames. But this book to me is just like a warm, cozy hug. It is holiday goodness. We follow the inner circle around while they get ready for the winter solstice, which is I think kind of like their version of the holiday season. And it's really fun. It's a sweet book. We get a lot of different POVs in this book, which is really enjoyable. And it definitely sets you up for A Court of Silver Flames, which is my favorite book. So we get a lot of Cassian and Nesta crumbs in this book. So I will probably be reading this right around Christmas just to get me in the holiday spirit. Okay, the next question is there a new release that you are still waiting for? I believe the only book that I am still anticipating to come out in 2022 is going to be Daisy Hates 2 by Jessa Hastings. So I don't think we have an exact date yet. She does keep teasing it on her Instagram though, so I feel like any day now we are going to learn the date of Daisy Hates 2 release. But I'm very excited to read that. I really loved Daisy and Christian's story and Julian, and I'm just excited to see what all of those characters are up to. I really miss them, and I miss that world. So I think Daisy Hates 2 is the only book that I'm anticipating in December. I was also going to be reading the final book in the Zodiac Academy series in December. However, the authors have announced that they are once again going to be extending the series, and they're going to have now a 9th book. So this 8th book was supposed to be the last one. They announced that they are going to be doing another, and actually the 7th book was supposed to be the last one, and then they made the 8th, and then all of that. So it's just a lot, and I think I've decided I'm going to wait until the final book of the Zodiac Academy Academy series is published, and then I will read the rest of them. So I will read book 8 with book 9 at some point, at some later date when it comes out. I just can't deal with the emotional turmoil that these books put me through for another year. I really thought that this was gonna be it. This was gonna be the end. We were gonna get our happily ever after, and I'm just, I can't do it. So I will be waiting until the final Zodiac Academy book is out to continue that series. But other than that, yeah, it's just gonna be Daisy Hates 2. If there are any highly anticipated December releases, let me know, because I don't feel like I've heard of too many, but if you guys are anticipating one that I should know about, let me know down below. All right, the next question of this tag is, what are 3 books that you want to read by the end of the year? So I have a few books here that will be a part of my December TBR. The first one being Real by Kennedy Ryan. This is a contemporary romance, and I believe it takes place in Hollywood or Broadway, something to that effect. I believe we have a director and an actor maybe having a relationship. I'm not entirely sure, but that's kind of what I've gathered. I have heard just such incredible things about this book, and what's really great is when I went on Goodreads to look at this book, pretty much everyone that I am friends with on Goodreads has given this at least a 4-star rating, and most of them have been higher than that. So I have very, very high hopes for this book. I think that I will give it a 5-star. I'm very excited to read it, and I definitely want to get to it before the end of the year because it could end up being a favorite. The next book is going to be The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I will say this book was on my November TBR, but I fell into a reading slump in November, and so some of the books that I wanted to read in November I might have to push to December, this being one of them. I don't want to rush this book. I don't want to force myself to read it right now. I am just now getting out of the slump, so I want to read this when I am ready to. Erin Morgenstern wrote The Night Circus, which is one of my favorite books of all time, and I have just heard nothing but wonderful things about The Starless Sea. Truthfully, I don't really know what this book is about, and I've heard that that's kind of a common thing to say about this book. I know it's a YA fantasy, and Erin Morgenstern's writing is just really beautiful, so I'm sure I will love this. And then another book that I definitely want to get to before 2022 is up is Babel by R.F. Kuang. This is an adult historical fantasy, also kind of a dark academia book. This book is everywhere right now. I believe it came out in October, I want to say, and I've just heard so much buzz about it. I've talked to a few people about this book who have read it, and they said that they absolutely loved it. This is definitely a priority for me. I truly think I will give this at least a 4-star, if not a 5-star. It just sounds so fantastic, so well written, and I'm really excited for it. The next question is there a book that you still need to read that you think could shock you and become your favorite? Truthfully, probably one of these 3. These are all 5-star predictions. I really think that I could love them. I also think the second Daisy Hates book could definitely surprise me and be my favorite. And then the last question of this end of the year TBR tag is, have you started making reading plans for 2023? And yes, I absolutely have. I already have a couple books on my January TBR. Basically, my overall plan for the year is I definitely want to read more of my own physical books. I really want to work through my physical TBR. I want to focus on reading fantasy series to their completion. I've started a lot of fantasy series this year, and I just want to focus on finishing those out. Also, more specifically, I want to read maybe not all, but most of my Jane Austen collection. I want to read the entirety of the Shadowhunter Chronicles. So if you watched my bookshelf tour, I talked about how I have only read the first 3 books in the Mortal Instruments series, and I didn't know if I should continue. Not that I wasn't enjoying it, but I just don't really feel like a super strong feeling towards those books. But so many of you said to read The Infernal Devices and read The Last Hours, and I decided just because I own them, I am going to read all of her books. So that is a goal of mine next year for sure. I want to get through the entirety of the Shadowhunter Chronicles and see what all the buzz is about. I also want to read the Percy Jackson series, and as always, every single month I will be reading whatever new and exciting fantasy romances come out. All right, guys, so that is it for this end of the year TBR tag. I hope you guys enjoyed. As I said, I will have the questions linked down below. I would love to hear your answers. What are your reading plans for the end of the year? What are you hoping to get to before December 31st? If you've made it to this point in the video, go ahead and leave just any type of wintry or Christmas emoji. It could be a snowflake, snowman, present, Christmas tree, Santa, whatever you want to do. As always, my Instagram and my Goodreads are linked down below. You are welcome to follow me on there at any time. I really appreciate that you watched this video. I hope that you are all having a fantastic day, and I will catch you guys in the next one.